All right, shifting our focus, Russian strikes have killed at least one person and wounded 15 others in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region.
The latest attacks come as Moscow and Kyiv step up long-range strikes, with the United Nations warning that civilian casualties have reached their highest monthly level since March 2022. At the same time, Russia is warning of possible maritime retaliation if Western countries seize Russian vessels. Russian attacks hit the Kramatorsk community in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk region on Thursday evening. According to regional governor Vadim Filashkin, at least one person was killed and 15 were wounded. He said Russian forces struck Kramatorsk and the nearby village of Belenki 8 times, with residential buildings among the sites hit. In the Zaporizhzhia region, another Russian strike wounded a 25-year-old woman and a 5-year-old child.
It is hard to imagine what they, the Russians, want from us. How much longer can they bomb us, torture us?
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, repeating Russian President Vladimir Putin's warning, said Moscow will choose its own targets if Western countries seize Russian vessels. The threat comes as the European Union steps up pressure on Russia's so-called shadow fleet, with tougher sanctions and maritime enforcement measures under consideration.
The EU has adopted measures to restrict Russia's global revenues, including powers to stop vessels, seize cargo, and sell it, with proceeds going to Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that Russia will respond to what it views as acts of robbery and piracy. Moscow will determine its own targets, including vessels linked to countries that, in Russia's view, have adopted such actions as official state policy.
In Crimea, Russian authorities say a military officer was killed in a targeted bomb attack in Sevastopol. Officials say a woman has been arrested on suspicion of carrying out the attack. She has been accused of acting on instructions from Ukrainian intelligence agencies. According to media reports, the bomb had been planted in a trash can in a park and was detonated remotely by the suspect when the officer passed by. Russian channels identified the officer as Robert Shagiv, a former commander of Ukraine's only submarine, the Zaporizhzhia, who reportedly defected to Russia after Moscow annexed Crimea in 2014.
Now, according to the United Nations, at least 437 civilians were killed and 2,610 injured across Ukraine in July. Now, that represents a 30% increase from June and a 70% rise compared with July 2025. The UN says July recorded the highest monthly civilian casualty level since March 2022.
The UN Human Rights Monitoring Mission today said that more civilians were killed or injured in the country in July 2026 than in any month since March 2022, marking a new high in this year's escalation of civilian harm.
Meanwhile, Russia and Ukraine have carried out another exchange through Belarus. Belarusian state media says Russia transferred the bodies of 261 Ukrainian soldiers to Ukraine and received the remains of 24 Russian soldiers. According to report, the two sides also exchanged civilian detainees at the Belarus-Ukraine border. Ukraine released 8 people, while Russia released 7.